You're a natural.
Well, uh, I do like what I do, I guess. Uh, that video kind of makes me, I don't know, kind of tear up a little bit because I've never thought that I would even get this far at all. You know, I didn't even think about even getting this far and building sticks. I just like building them. So, and I like seeing the smiles on people's faces when they got them. So,
How is that loop head attached?
I'm sorry, sir.
How is the loop head attached? Whatever you call it, the
Oh,
how's
the
that
cup.
attached?
I bend it over and I tie them and I leave them set for about 3 or 4 days, and
So
then
you
they
don't
just
glue it
stay.
at all?
No, I don't glue it or nothing.
Hmm.
I
So
just tie
just the
them up with
steam makes
string.
it stick together, huh?
Well, the steam makes the wood bend where it needs to be at, and where it needs, and then it just stays. After I tie it together, it stays there.
Huh.
So,
Yeah.
and I actually bend it out just a little bit when I sand the inside the cups. So,
Oh, yeah, that's the nice thing about wood. Once you get it nice and steamed, you can get it to hold the shape.
yeah,
Do
yeah.
you harvest your own wood?
Yes, ma'am.
And can you talk a little bit about like the harvesting process? Because I know I have harvested some wood for drumsticks and like the time of year, and there's a lot of. Can you tell us more about that whole process?
Well, my favorite time to harvest the wood is spring because well, the bark comes off fairly easy and it's still got it's still kind of really moist and wet by the spring rains, and but I harvest it all year long, and it seems to me like maybe in the fall it gets a little harder to bend. They splinter and break a little bit more. So, but I still work with them because I just well I sell a lot of sticks. So I mean I go through a lot of wood. So, but
Use
the
hickory?
harvest,
Use hickory? Or what kind of
yes,
wood?
I use hickory mostly. Now sometimes I'll use white oak. White oak is just as strong as hickory. It's a little harder to bend and it splinters a little bit more. But once you get the stick made, it's just as good as hickory. So just harder to make than hickory is. Uh, and when I harvest the wood, I always try to find the straightest tree with no knots, no twist. And sometimes I might go a whole day and not find a tree to cut at all. So it might be a 2 or 3 day job just to find the wood to harvest. So, and a lot of times I find them inside the hollows, and I have to carry them out. But now I've got young men that helps me. I got well, my 2 boys help me, but my 2 sons help me, and then I got 2 other boys from the community that helps me out a lot. So.
Well, it's good you're
So
teaching that too, to more, right? The more you
Oh
share, the
yeah,
more it's going to expand.
yeah. To anybody that wants to learn it, I'll teach it. It's not mine to have. It's everybody's. It's all of ours. So I would imagine used to everybody their uncles or would teach them how to make stickball sticks if they wanted to play stickball stick, or they made their own or somewhere or another. Their family made it for them, or they taught them how to make them. And nowadays, but we're just so busy in life, we don't have time to do that kind of stuff. And so uh, I love making stuff. I worked at a gun manufacturer for about 7 years as a machinist, and that's what I went to school for, is machine tool and die. Well, the first time I went to school, second time I went to school was for education. But yeah, I just love making stuff. I mean, it's just my niche. So I love teaching people. Uh, but used to after we got the wood we got at home, the trunks, we would split them with split mauls and axes, and that was a pretty tough job. I would have oh, about four logs, and it would take me a good half of a day to get them all split into stabs, and and a lot of the wood was wasted. I hated it because we'd only use about 50% of the wood that we cut, which nowadays I use, you know, probably 90% or 85%. Probably got about 15% of the trunk wasted. So
Well, yeah, and when you have 800 or so, the more you have can utilize, the more you can work through it, right?
yeah. I remember the day I decided I was going to start sawing everything, and I looked outside, and we'd split, and I had already got to where I'd cut the stab, I'd make them the stabs, and I'd cut them with the table saw. But I looked outside my front yard, and it was probably about 4 foot high of just wood scrap all across my front yard. I was real busy at that time, and I thought, man, there's got to be. It I know it kind of breaks my heart to cut down a tree, anyways. But I know that we need them, and it's I do it in a respectful way. So, but it makes me feel a little bit better now since I don't have as much scrap. So, or wasted wood. But so, but yeah, I used to. That's the way we would do it. And then, of course, I would carve them down with that draw knife. And my dog was knocking on the door. I don't know if you heard it or not, but uh, yeah. But now we do it with the machines, and I still got a lot more to do on it. I think I can improve it a lot more. And we're throwing out probably. Oh, last year I probably threw out maybe 1,500 pair of wooden sticks, and 1,000 pair of the plastic sticks, which is awesome because when I first moved to Oklahoma, I knew we played stickball and I knew about it, but I didn't see a pair of sticks until Lord, I was in my 30s, and that's one thing that I realized was there was not. I mean, there was people building them, but those building maybe 10 pair at a time or something, and we was being deprived by not having the sticks out there, and that was one of the things that was hurting the game more or less. So that was one of the things I wanted to make sure is that we had sticks out there for the people to play with, and now we are, and the stickball is getting more and more known. So, and I'm not saying it's all I mean, it's not all me, but one thing is we're getting sticks out. There's a lot of people out there that's promoting the stickball, that's teaching the stickball game, that's doing an awesome job. So I mean, it's a group effort for sure. So and I understand why the stickball makers don't want to build a whole lot of sticks because it's rough. It's a tough job, and you can make a stick from the time ready to bend, and there's a lot of work put to it. And then when you bend it, you break it, and it's discouraging. So, and especially if you get a tree that's just don't work, and you put all your work into getting all the stabs split out, and then you cut them all down, and then you start bending them, and 75% of them breaks. It's real discouraging. So,
Is there a
so
thing that you do with the ones that break in the process? Is there a special place where those go, is or is it just scrap wood?
well, the ones that I wouldn't sell myself, but someone could actually use them. I I've been giving them to it's a boys' home there in Tahlequah, Jack Brown. So just for them to mess around with. But they also buy just blanks from me that all it is just a stab that's bent, and then they sand them down and drill them and string them and stuff. So a lot of times they buy them, and I'll just And sometimes I do art projects. I made Donnie a heart out of 2 pairs of sticks the other day for Valentine's Day. So, sometimes I do art projects. I make back scratchers with them sometimes. So, but that's about what I do with them. And some of them you just can't do nothing with them. I just burn them in my fire that I burn all the scrap wood. So,
How
but
much is an individual order of a pair of sticks?
I'm sorry, sir.
How much do you charge for an individual order for a pair of
Just
sticks?
for one pair of adult sticks, I charge $100.
Okay.
I know it seems steep. I really feel, to me, I feel like it's not really because, but I know there's people that can afford it, and I try to give them or give them a good price. But uh, this is what I do for a living, and I can't, and I got to pay bills. So, uh,
Sounds reasonable given the amount of work you put into it.
well, yeah, yeah, and then plus, if you look on the internet, and you look for just a hickory staff, they're about $58, $50 a piece. So.
Yeah, I don't think your prices are wrong at all. And, yeah, if that's what you're doing for a living, even better. But
Yeah,
that time also has to pay for the price of the parts that don't work. So the stuff
yeah,
that fails, you still have to make a living,
yeah.
overall.
And these boys that comes out here and helps me and stuff, I pay them too. So
Of course.
I'll make sure that one of them he comes up here. It's full time for him. He loves making them. So he's a jumper. Someone's talking about Miss what's her name Wilder, but he's
Alice Wilder, yeah.
Alice
yeah,
Wilder.
yeah Alice yeah he's a jumper. He's from Kenwood. He comes up here all the time. And then, of course, my 2 boys, that's what they do too. They just help me build sticks. Of course, that's a lot. With me by myself, if I've done maybe a 15 pair order in a week, I've done good. So, and we're talking about, maybe with plastic and wood this year, we're probably about 2,500 pair that came out. So there's no way I could do it by myself, and I'm really happy to have them. And plus, they're learning; they love it. So, and I have kids or young men. I say kids, young men that come in and get the interest of it and work with me for a week or two, and decide they want to do something else. And of course, it's all right with me. So, I probably have way too many people working with me. My little garage sometimes feels like I'm in a disco party.
I played it a couple of times to try to play it. I felt really spastic doing it, but um, what is I can't remember what the ball is like. Is there a special ball that you have to use?
For planing
No,
or
for playing it.
for the playing, well, they usually make a ball. It's about the size of the cup, probably about 2 inches diameter, maybe an inch diameter. Uh, and they uh, they make it kind of like a baseball. They sew it up like a baseball. But I I was trying to make balls. I can't sew. I mean, I just can't do it. But I can weave, and so I found a way to weave my balls.
Mm.
And it seems like it's doing all right. But uh, and it gives it a lot of weight where it's not really heavy too, or like hard because you don't want the balls come down and throw it way up in the air and hit you in the head. So if it's hard,
Well, I was
For
actually
the
impressed with your woven ball.
did you get a woven ball?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
I've stared at that for quite a while, figuring out I've never figured that one out.
yeah. It took me a while to figure that one out myself. I probably worked on it for a month or two trying to figure it out. So
Are the woven balls used in play at all, or is it or is that just how you make them?
yeah, they play with them.
Do they?
The
Okay.
yeah, the Choctaws actually they weave their balls like that. That's where I got the idea at. But
Okay.
I never had anybody teach me how to do it. I just had to try to figure it out.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if it's Choctaw way or I can't say it's Choctaw. I guess
Mm-hmm.
it's my way. I guess it's Cherokee since I'm
Mm-hmm.
Cherokee. So
And
yeah.
is the sewn version like, is it just a matter because you just don't like to sew, or is it like hard or?
Well, I'm the only Cherokee ball maker that makes woven balls. The rest of the Cherokee ball makers sew them.
Oh, do they?
And
Okay.
the reason why I don't sew them is because I can't sew. I tried. I tried to sew them. I'm just not good at it. So
I think everybody can sew, but there's got to be a way.
well, I'm 6'3" and
Hold that up
I've
again.
got hands like Sasquatch, so it's kind of hard to.
Joe's holding up the little ball genie.
Oh, Izzy, I want to see it.
It's almost like it's braided.
Oh, I hope because I've been in touch with Donnie to get some sticks from you, and I hope they come with a woven ball. That'd be really cool.
The woven balls here lately, it's well, we've had a really bad supply uh on everything, I guess, and it's hard for me to get the leather for them, and so I've been buying like uh tack leather, like for horses, like for working on saddles or whatever, and
Mm-hmm.
making them with that, which really looks nice. I really like them. So it's a little expensive, but I like them better.
Yeah. Hey, Joseph, did you have one that you could show?
Sure.
Yeah, I want to see it. Oh, that's cool.
And of course, my kids and grandkids were over last weekend, and I had to convince them not to throw it in the house.
Okay.
No, Joseph and I were doing it in the house, and we decided that that wasn't the best idea. But it was fun. We had a good time. Joseph, can you hold up the stick with the ball in the stick?
Sure. Maybe. I blame the cat, but he's
Got to be smarter than the stick. And
yeah,
the
we
ball.
know that rules me out.
So you could see kind of, Jeannie, how big that is too.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm excited. And Stan, we have some good leather resources out this way.
I need to get a hold of some somewhere or another. I mean,
Okay,
I can
I
cut my
can
own
hook you up
strips.
there. What was that?
I can cut my own strips if I can just get the leather. I got everything to cut everything. So
We have good leather resources here. So I will, do you want me to just like tell Donnie or just like,
yeah, just maybe send
okay,
her a message or something. That'd be awesome. We
okay,
use
yeah. Yeah, Oregon Leather has like it's a whole entire city block of just beautiful, like everything from splits to everything. They do
oh,
saddle
wow.
making there. So they have like I can even like go grab, they have like this huge scrap bucket. That stuff is like real, the prices are really good, and sometimes the pieces are big enough that yeah, and I've made moccasins out of their like just finding scraps in their bucket. So not.
Well,
And
yeah,
we've
I'd
got
like
a
to.
guy up north that he runs a taxidermy shop, but he's got all kinds of just leather supplies and stuff too.
Well, I'll need to find a good leather supplier, I guess. So
Okay.
that'd be awesome. I sure appreciate it.
Stan, what do you charge for a ball when you can get the material?
I'd charge $20.
Whatever.
You know, if I were charging for these things, I couldn't have wove that in the time at $20. You wouldn't be able to afford it if I made them.
Well, the Choctaw woven balls go for $50 to $75. So, but it's not all about making money for me. It's more about trying to save who we are. You know,
Oh, yeah.
our parents lost it, and it wasn't their fault, but they lost it because they was forced to lose it. And if we don't gather it back for our children or grandchildren, one of these days we won't know what Cherokee is. So, and doesn't matter where we live at, we're still Cherokee, you know, and we still got to do our thing.
You mentioned there's a couple different types of basket weave, and I've not only I've only ever seen it at the gift shop. So what other, can you explain a little bit different on how this basket's different between different nations?
Yeah, see the ones you got right there, the way I weave it, it's kind of got a square pattern to it.
Right.
The Muskogeans and the Seminoles, they kind of got a triangular pattern that goes down it, and the same format for the hose. They just cross them triangle instead of, and then you got the Eastern Cherokee, which they use the square pattern too, but they string theirs more like a lacrosse stick, maybe. I guess would be more closer to it. And then your Choctaws, they just have a string that runs down it and a string that runs across it. So, and I imagine there's probably different stringing. I really don't know about them. So, there is. I've seen them differently strung. I've seen sticks like I make strung like the Cherokee, Eastern Cherokees make them, so or string them.
Okay. So now where are people playing at?
Well, uh, they they used to play at the ceremonial grounds, and I think it was like 1909. Was it Redbird Smith? May have been Redbird Smith. May have not been though. Don't quote me on that. Started the ball game with the Poe because we don't we didn't want to do the war game no more because we was in peace, and so it was more of a ceremonial game. So a lot of the people that plays anymore is at ceremonial grounds. We're just barely starting to get where a ball pole in Tahlequah at Marcoma, and then there's a few school grounds that's got a ball pole on them. And I've been talking to Counselor Joshua Sam about putting some ball poles up around the Stillwell area, and hopefully we do. Uh, I like the community game more than I do the man on man game. Man on man, I guess, is fun for the younger man, but to me, the community game, it seems like everybody can be involved. It doesn't matter what kind of disabilities you have, or you know, male, female. It don't matter the gender. You can be involved, and that's one of the things I like about the community game, where the man on man is just mostly men, young men playing, and plus people kind of gets hurt by them in that game too, still yet today. But a lot of the Choctaws play the man on man game, and that's where you set up like maybe 100 yards and you got a goal on each side. Now we played the man on man game at Cherokee Holiday before COVID happened, and it was really fun to watch. And I played it a couple of times in there. I'm not really good at playing stickball, but I mean I'm a big guy, so I can block. But that was back when I was younger. So now I don't really play anymore. But I never was really that good at it either. But So right now I've got me myself, and I know other people make some too. Portable poles. I don't know if you've seen them or not. It's just a PVC pipe thing. I just kind of threw together with a bungee cord in the center to kind of throw everything, keep everything tight, and they go about 21 feet up in the air with a fish on it. And a lot of the schools now are using them. So in communities. So hopefully that will help out a little bit. Where I was, and the reason why I wanted to do the portable pole was I started looking at just driving down the neighborhoods and you've seen a basketball goal in just about everybody's driveway. And I thought that would be awesome to have a ball pole in everybody's driveway. Which of course, if we had one in every community, every Cherokee community, that would be even more awesome.
Is 21 feet the standard height?
The standard height's 28.
28?
I'd make it 21 foot because most of the time it's younger kids playing, and it's a lot easier for that portable pole to stay standing up with 7 less feet. So,
Do the communities have parks and places to have the poles, the spaces to play?
there's some communities that do now. Now, if you're talking about like a community center, like the Cherokee community centers, I don't know if any of there's someone's got marble fields, but I don't know if any of them's got a ball pole. But like the Telequa community, it's got Marcoma where they got a ball pole there, and then so I would like to have a ball, and especially here in the 14 counties here in Oklahoma. I would like to have a ball pole in each park. I think that would be awesome. But I'm pushing for it. Maybe one of these days. It's like the Cherokee language. I mean, we just about lost it. About lost the Cherokee language. We're about to lose that. I don't know if y'all ever played Cherokee marbles or ever seen anybody play it or ever even heard of them.
Heard of it, but never seen it.
They play Cherokee marbles around my area more than they do stickball.
Did I?
Yeah, they have marble fields in people's backyards where communities come together with lights and they play all night long. So it's a fun game. Both my boys love to play it. It's too strategic for me, and I'm too impatient to play it. There's a lot of patience to it. So.
I'm surprised a grant writer hasn't jumped on getting poles put in everywhere.
I imagine probably not very many people has thought about it.
Really? Okay.
So I've been kind of pushing it myself, but I'm just one little man. You know, I don't have much power to anything. So
Is it usually a
Just
fish?
starts with one person. Remember that.
I know it just takes one person. Yeah. So
yeah,
He and I.
that's true.
I know, like already like messages out to grant writers here. So is it usually a fish on top of the pole, or are there other things that go up there?
Well, see how does that go? And it's a so I think Stokes ceremonial ground. Maybe no, it was Redbird ceremonial ground, which Stokes came from. And anyways, there's no story behind all that. But Redbird ceremonial ground puts a fish on it when they first started. And the fish is actually a carp. And it's a symbol of, because we had carp in North Carolina and Georgia and where we came from. So it was a symbol of almost being like at home, the fish is. But other ceremonial grounds put up a ball, and it's a symbol of the sun. So, and I really don't know what the story is behind that, why they do that. So, so it's either a ball or a fish.
Okay.
And how much do you charge for a portable pole?
Portable pole. It comes with the pole, and it comes with a case that you can fit, I think, up to 25 pair of sticks in with the pole, or maybe 20 pair, and it comes with two balls, and I charge $300 for it.
But if you were going to put one in every community, you wouldn't want to necessarily use a portable pole, right?
No, if I was going to put one up in every community, I would want to use cedar, a big cedar tree.
About how
So
much does it
what-
cost to put a pole up?
Well, I've never put one up. I've been like I said, I've been talking to Joshua Sam, and I kind of averaged it out with the people that you would need, the time that you would need, and that's without even buying the tree. It would probably be about $2,000. So,
And then how many communities? I'm trying to get an idea when she was talking about contacting grant writers. How many communities? So, how much does a grant need to be to fulfill your dream?
well, if they got the cedar trees there where we could harvest one right around that area, then it would probably maybe, and I don't know how many communities we have here in 14 counties area. I'd have to look it all up. I know we got a few hundred, but um,
If you could get us some just like general basic information with like what is involved in getting a pole into a community, the approximate cost, like the jobs that it could provide and the necessary things that are needed, I literally can get that to a grant writer in a matter of days, but they need some specific information in order to write something. So if there's like a budget, the locations, the cost, like literally, and especially if there's like going to
yeah,
be jobs involved in erecting these, that's
yeah. Well, I wouldn't go with less than 7 people helping, because
Mhm.
that pole's going to be heavy, and just out of respect, I would rather erect the pole in a by manpower instead of by machine. Just and then plus it gives people jobs. And the only time I put up 2 ceremonial poles. So that's the only time I put up the poles. I know the dimensions, and if I know the songs that we would sing if we would sing the songs. I don't know if you would want to do that. I know at Marcoma they just threw up a pole, and it was made out of a telephone pole, and it didn't last very long. Lightning struck it. So I don't know if that's a creator telling us, "Hey, I gave this to you. We need to respect it a little bit more," or if it's lightning just struck it. But it kind of makes me wonder. So we put up a cedar pole then, and it's still up. So lightning hasn't struck it. So even though we're living in a modern world, we still need to put our ceremonies and ourselves in what we do, I think. So,
Is this something that you would like to see like in every county, or is there like a starting point in specific counties with specific communities?
well, I would eventually like to see it happen in every town, at least in the 14 county. At least have every town that's got a park that they could put that up, as a park, but in the park. But you'd have to worry about. I mean, you can put up poles, but if they don't got stickball sticks, they can't play. So you have to worry about the stickball sticks too.
Yeah.
And you think about it, 2,000, like last year, 2,000 stickball sticks, 2,500 or whatever it was. That sounds like a lot of sticks, but whenever you got 400,000 Cherokees, that's not a drop in the bucket. So
Seemed like the Cherokee Nation would want to get behind something like this.
I don't think don't think anybody acknowledges that we've about lost it. I think they're focusing on the language, which is good. This is great. I love it. You know, I think every Cherokee should know the language, and I don't think the language is just for the Cherokee people. I think it's for the world. We at our ceremonies when we go around the fire, we always talk about our prayers and what we have, and it's not just for us; it's for everybody, every man that walks. So, uh, it's I and I go back to the stickball game. It was an alternative to war. I mean, right now we're looking into, maybe, you got Ukraine and Russia that's heading off to each other. Man, with that, I know it's a far fetched idea, but wouldn't that be awesome if Ukraine got their guys and Russia got their guys and they had a big old stickball game? Whatever happened, happened. And if Russia won, they just won. Won Ukraine, whatever they want to do with it. And if Ukraine wins, Russia just leaves them alone. And that's the way, it was a way smaller scale, but that's about the way we did it.
But Russia will cheat.
Yeah. They probably would.
Well, here's the thought. If whoever is in charge of those parks, I'm assuming that each city has a city center.
Like a Parks
that
and
is in
Rec
charge
kind
of
of
the
a
park.
thing. Yeah, Park and Recs
Right.
that could manage the sticks and check them out. And
right. That's where
Yeah.
I was thinking, is that if we could get a grant writer to say by, I don't know how many people deem a team, 3 people here, 3 people there, you need that many stickball sticks. And if a grant writer could get a poll in one park and do the grant writing for the stickball sticks and they get checked out at that city's park and rec, that might be an option. Because I know we do that at our community center. We have a disc golf area around our community center, and we check out the little frisbee things for the disc golf. So, and in each city, there should be different budgeting for different departments also. So there might be a budget in that park and rec department to purchase the stickball sticks.
Yeah, I really don't know how it all works around here. I know in our area, the Cherokee Nation more or less carries all the governments and finance, the finances. And so if we could get Cherokee Nation to say that's what we want, we could do it here in this area for sure. So
because I know Abraham I know stickball is one of his concerns about getting that out into the community, because I have put him in touch with how getting fields out here at like Metro and in Southwest Washington area. So I know there's other people that are trying to get poles out there, sticks out there.
Yeah. Abraham, he sees
Should we all write Chief Hoskin a letter?
Well, I could probably talk to Chief and he'd probably do it. I just need, he's so busy, it's hard to talk to him. So, maybe if y'all wanted to, I don't know, so he's willing to help anyway. Our chief's a good chief.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know. I'd be willing to help wherever I can, but also I have a few friends that like write big grants, and
Yeah.
I know they would be willing, and Joni is Cherokee, so she would even be more excited about that because she's a native grant writer. But most of her stuff is out this way. But yeah. Let's get something going. This is gonna be fun.
Oh, that would be awesome. That would be awesome. See, I don't know nothing. I don't know nothing about grants. I don't know nothing about government. I don't, I vote. That's about all I do. And so, but I know how to build sticks. I know how to build stuff. That's all. That's my expertise. So when it comes to making stuff like that, we need people to make it, even if it's
Well, you
not
just keep making the
for
sticks,
me.
Dan. You just keep making those sticks as quickly as possible.
Well, I've been keeping up with it. It's been pretty hard sometimes, been pretty challenging, but I've been keeping up with it. So that's a good thing. And I would like to, at least, in the military too, another dream of mine is I would like to have where the native kids or native military people could play stickball. I've heard of a game that they in Afghanistan they got some sticks and bent some twigs and played a stickball game there in Afghanistan. And I don't know a whole lot about it. I've just heard of it. And what I understand is they really liked it. And, if you think about it, it's a war game and it's more American than any game we play, in America. So, it's the first American game. So I think,
Like Fort Sill in Oklahoma needs to have a ball field.
yeah, yeah, they do. And, even in the military, if they played man on man, that'd be perfect for them. That would get their aggression out or whatever they need, whenever they, I really don't know. I've never been in the military, but it would, I just think, I think the game, like you were talking about Abraham Bear Paw. See, Abraham, I guess you're talking about Bear Paw, right? Abraham Bear Paw? Yeah.
Yeah. Yes.
Abraham has been out away from the Cherokee Nation, and he sees how that, I would call it the fire, burns in us, and we can't explain it to nobody. We can't tell anybody what it is because we don't know what it is ourselves. And the only time I actually found it was when I went to a ceremonial ground, and I found that feeling I was urging for. I didn't know I had, and so Abraham, of course, he was raised around ceremonial grounds and the wolf ground. That's his family's ground, and uh, but he went, I guess, to California, and he got into some trouble there and stuff, and he realized that if we don't have what we need, we don't know how to control ourselves, and that's a lot of that. I think alcohol and drugs and stuff. I think a lot of that is because of that issue, is because we're not finding that part of us that we need. And I've been through it too myself. So, and whenever I found it, it was just like a big, fresh breath of air. And stickball is part of that. I mean, it's not all of it, but it's part of it. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to start preaching, but I'm really passionate about it because I know I've been there, and I know.
I didn't think you were preaching, and I wondered if it would be too personal to ask you what you feel you found that answered the needs that you had.
Well, it wasn't religious,
right?
but it was spiritual, and it was the best way I could explain it is I guess the connection to the created and the one that created it all. And usually in church you're trying to fight. And I was raised in church all my life. My dad preached for 60 years before he passed, 70 years. And he passed at 88, and he started preaching when he was 18. So, but I never did find that in church. And I'm not saying nothing about church. I mean, people,
right?
We all find our own ways and our own in our own paths and our own journeys. But to me, as a Cherokee person, the church didn't. I mean, it provided me guidance, I guess, but it didn't provide what I was earning for. And whenever I went out around the fire and I got to sing with all my people, and I got to hear the turtles shake, and I felt that there's a connection there. I felt it, and that's whenever I found what I needed. So.
I know.
And I think that even with stickball, we find that part of us that, I mean, it's not in one place, it's everywhere. So we find that part of us. But
Everybody's
You
either
you are
taking
a
notes or
national treasure?
I'm sorry.
Go ahead, Joseph.
I said either everybody looks like they're in deep contemplation or they're taking notes all at once. It's kind of fun to watch.
Well, I think what I'm doing is because I know that you guys are out large, and you guys have not been around our people, and I think I've connected with y'all in that, because I know that we all earned for that, and it just kind of quiet this all down. So
Thank you so much. I'm excited, and it's just so wonderful hearing you and talk about it and seeing the amazing sticks that you make. And somebody mentioned, are you a Cherokee National Treasure for making these?
no,
No, okay.
I've had people to try to nominate me, and I asked them not to,
Oh,
because I
Okay.
think that, well, the reason why is because I think a lot of our treasures that we have didn't earn it. And I want to be a national treasure. I mean, I'm not saying I don't, but I want to earn it too. So, and I think that
I
it's a
just put that out
lifetime.
there because I think you should be.
I agree.
I would say with what we've heard today, you have more than earned it.
Mhm.
Hmm.
I think it's a lifetime achievement. I think,
Mhm.
and I'm just 46, so I haven't lived that lifetime yet. So, and I may be wrong. I may just be too. I don't know. Anyways.
Too shy and humble.
Well, I don't know, but
More reason to like be one of the ones that have truly earned it.
Yeah, exactly.
I think what you're doing today is a part of what is expected of national treasures, but I don't think they all do it.
no, that's what I'm talking about too. Is a lot of people, or some people, got it just because their name, you know, and a lot of people, they don't really know me because I'm always out in the woods or in the shop. I'm not out and about, but they know my brother and they know Donnie, and I think, and I don't want that to be the reason why I get it. I want to be able to get that because I achieved that myself. So,
What is your connection with Donnie? I've heard you mention her several times, but
she is my wife.
okay. I was kind of wondering that. But,
A sweetheart. Yeah.
yeah. Donnie Squirrel, right?
Yeah, Donnie Squirrel. Yeah.
And I love the yurt. I think that yurt it's so cool.
Yeah.
We got this for Donnie. She's been wanting one forever, and so hey, it makes a nice place to get away from everybody and do meetings like this. And she does it all the time out here. So
Yeah, they're nice.
I think when she first told you, I want a yurt, Stan.
well, she never did really just right out and tell me that. I always knew she did, and we just found this one on Facebook Marketplace at a real good price and
Mhm.
got it. And I built the floor for it and put it up. And she's got her dirt. So, so this is her a she shed, I guess.
Uh,
It's been fun watching that space grow, how it like started out as like a desk in the field and, and
Mhm.
just like
Yeah. We did that just being funny because at that time, nobody knew what we was doing. Was all trying to stay away from everybody, and trying to, this COVID virus, and so we just thought it'd be funny to just go out in the field because I don't know.
Mhm.
It worked out for a little bit. She did a little bit, or I guess live or whatever.
Mhm.
Uh, well,
So, anything else you'd like to add, Stan?
I'm kind of more or less just I could tell a story
Please.
if you guys would like for me to.
Yes.
Uh,
Mhm.
is any of y'all my Facebook friends?
No,
just sent a request. I'm not a Facebook
Send a
fan,
request.
but yeah, I'm not on there much, but sent you a request.
I do drawings too a little bit. I'm not really that good at it, but I like to draw them. So I drawed a bat with some pair of stickball sticks hovering over a water drum, and
I saw that.
it comes from this story. The story when the animals and the birds decided to play a game of stickball. Has anybody heard that story?
Mm-mm.
Okay. So if I mess it up, I'm sorry. I'm not a storyteller, but I love the story. So one day, for whatever reason, the animals and the birds decided to play a game of stickball. Get a drink real quick before I get started. And so, the animals all bragging about how this is going to beat the birds. The turtle, he'd get up and he'd say, "Look, I'll just slam them down on the ground." And the deer, for what back then he had like wolf teeth, like canine teeth. And there's a story behind why, but that's a whole different story. But he would show his teeth and say, "I just bite them birds when they fly by." They was all bragging about it. And the birds was having their council, and they was talking about how they was needing, to get together and to figure out who played where and what played this and this, and so. Well, the animals is out bragging about what they was going to do. The deer said, I'll grab that ball, I'll run through the woods. There'll be nobody to catch me, they was all bragging about it. Well, this little animal crawls up on the stump and he asks them, he says, "Can I play too?" And they just started laughing at him. It's like, you can't even play, you can't do nothing. What can you do? So you're just a little bitty guy, you'll get squashed. and so And so he went to the birds and he asked, sorry, he asked the eagle, he said, "Can I play on y'all's team?" And the bird looked at him. He said, "You're an animal. You need to play with the animals." He said, "I went to the animals. They wouldn't let me play." And the eagle said, "Well, you got to have wings to be able to play with the birds." And so they took the trimmings off the water drum and got some twigs and they made them wings. And they made Flamejo, the bat. And so after they put the wings together and he was flying around, he was showing them all the stuff that he could do, and he was really getting good at the wings. He was flying through branches of trees underneath, everything. And this other little animal comes up to him. He said, "I've seen what you did with Mayhaw." He said, "Can you do that with me?" And they said, "Well," they said, we can't because we don't have no more leather left on the water drum." And so the birds grabbed the skin and they started pulling it and stretching it. And it was Dewey, the flying squirrel. And so there's the game, the day of the game came, and the eagle and the bear, they was all facing off with each other with the ball, and all the birds on one side and the animals on the other side was ready to start playing. And Possum grabs the ball and he throws it up in the air, and they all do their hoops and hollers, and they start running at the ball. And the deer grabs the ball and he takes off toward that way, and the tortoise is doing what he said he's going to do. He's running and jumping on them birds and flopping on them, and the bear, he was swatting at them, and boy, it was just a heck of a game. Well, the deer, he tripped and he fell, and that ball came out of his hand, and there come that bat right in the middle of all of it, and he grabs that ball, and he takes off flying through it, and all the animals are chasing him. He's flying through all the limbs of the woods and stuff, and here comes the flying squirrel, and he passes it off to the flying squirrel. Flying squirrel glides all the way through the woods. He gets it out in the field, and he passes it back to the bat, and the bat grabs it and flies right straight to the goal and hits the ball on the goal. Made the point. And so that's how the birds won the stickball game.
That's a great story.
Thank you, Wando. That was cool.
And I know people could probably tell it better than me.
No, you did great.
Mm-hmm.
Good story. Good story.
Mhm.
So is there any
Joseph
more
has your
questions?
contact information?
I'm sorry?
I presume Joseph has your contact information?
I do.
Okay.
Okay.
Tell us you're gonna
Okay.
order some stick balls. I mean, some
So,
sticks is
yeah.
good.
And Jeannie says she can imagine pterodactyls playing, but she's a bit of a pterodactyl fiend. So
I know I kept imagining this bat to be the Sinagua, like pterodactyl.
well, Stan, thank you so much for coming this month. We're glad to have you. I really appreciate your time and
Well, I
telling
hope-
us about things and
I
sharing
hope
some
I
time
answered
with us.
some questions and
Oh, yeah.
done good. So
You
Very
have.
informative.
Excellent. Yes.
We
Well,
know and love Donnie, and now I'm really glad to have gotten to know you.
yes.
thank you. Thank you.